A tipping point in masculine psychology. The outcome of Trump's campaign will dramatically impact the collective consciousness of men, not just in America, but worldwide. We are at a major tipping point in masculine psychology in the Western world and the Americas. If Trump is allowed to take office, bringing Elon Musk and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. along with him, it will herald a new sense of masculine optimism, vitality, and futurism. If Trump is not allowed to take office, millions of men will experience a sense of hopelessness. For those who listen to the Rogan interview with Trump, we could call it masculine melancholia. If the Americans and the richest man in the world can't save freedom, men living in more oppressive socialist police states like the UK will have even less hope for improving conditions there. Life will go on either way, but I believe that the election results will determine between two dramatically different futures. So let's take a look at both of them, beginning with a win. Trump futurism. The Democrats put all of their doomed eggs in their "the future is feminine" basket. They made it clear that their main priorities included abortion, emasculation, wealth redistribution, and the sterilization not only of men, but also children. And they want men to fight wars that no fighting-age men actually want to fight. Men want the same things that they've always wanted: vitality, prosperity, opportunities to compete for status and distinguish themselves among other men, access to desirable women to mate with and raise families, collective self-determination, the sense that our best guys are in charge. Men are simple. Every smart leader in history has known that if you want men on your side, you have to offer them wealth, women, and winning. The Democratic Party offers men none of these things. Their best pitch is a moral imperative to help women and punish bad men. The Trump campaign offers men improved health, make America healthy again, opportunities for wealth, and, as Trump's model wife and desirable family suggest, women and fertility. Make America great again makes being an American feel like being on a winning team. Being on a winning team physically raises men's testosterone. If Trump wins, we'll see an opportunity window for optimism and seeking solutions to the problems that men have been facing for the past several decades. Men and women are ready to seek out those solutions. The end of men triumphalism of 2010's feminism was crushed under the queer juggernaut of gender confusion and transsexuality. The future can't be feminine if no one even knows what a woman is. Trump and Musk together signal a new natalism, a desire to prioritize big families and growth, and a measured return to a patriarchal perspective. Now, there will be a lot of butthurt from middle-aged women about the new natalism. Many will feel bitter and left out. But young men and women will want what they've always wanted. The net product of feminism for many men and women alike has been OnlyFans, Tinder, hookups, STDs, alcoholism, and loneliness. Legions of men will also be left behind in the age of the new natalism. A generation or so of men had to suffer through the snotty, entitled women who are now empty egg cartons. They've been divorced, dragged through the system, and ground down. They're bitter, and they're done. What will become of the men and women who are too bitter, tired, or long in the tooth for the new natalism? Well, they're still going to be around for a long time, so the choice is whether to push them into a subversive position or find a way to make them productive allies. Have men learned anything about how marginalizing people can create a subversive, hateful cancer that eats away a society from within? We shall see. The best negotiators make everyone feel like there's some kind of win for them in the deal. Beyond the new natalism, a Trump win heralds a new period of American nationalism. This will not be the fashy kind that Democrats fear and extremely online right-wing Satanists fantasize about. I say Satanists because they care more about revenge and inversion than goodness. Now, I hope that some corrupt actors are brought to justice and relieved of power. I really do. But beyond that, I think the response will be measured. The only people going back are people who are here illegally. There will be no camps or trains or helicopter rides for communists. Normal, healthy Americans don't actually want that. They don't want to be the bad guys. Americans want to set things right. To the people of a nation, the only legitimate purpose of government is to facilitate the survival, health, happiness, and prosperity of the citizens of that nation. Before 2020, most people assumed that the government wanted them to be healthy and successful. Most Americans thought that the people in power had bad ideas, were incompetent, or were just making mistakes. 2020 showed that to be incorrect. The U.S. government, as it currently exists, serves the interests of the U.S. government at the expense of its citizens. And we know that this phenomenon crosses the old party lines. A Trump win signals a return to the legitimate purpose of government, and that is what people want, or at least that's what they want to believe. I don't believe that there is any chance that Trump will lose a free and fair election. Not now. Not against this airheaded puppet. However, the election may not be free or fair. I am convinced that I participated in a corrupt election in Maricopa County, Arizona in 2022. Only a fool would believe that half of the ballot printers in one of America's most contested counties accidentally went down on election day, when it was well known that Republicans weren't voting early and didn't trust mail-in ballots. I was there. I watched in amazement as a middle-aged female volunteer rubbed the ballot processing machine like a genie lamp, laughed nervously, and said, "Let's hope this one works." Now, my ballot actually did go through the machine that day, and my vote was theoretically registered, but it was at that moment that I knew it probably wouldn't matter. And I just stood there thinking, wow. So this is where we're at. I'm almost grateful for that experience. I don't think I was naive before, but it made the abstract concept of election interference very personal for me. Now, let's look at the other side. If the empire of nothing prevails, if Trump is not allowed to take office, either due to election shenanigans or something worse, the psychology of men worldwide will go to a dark place. Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and most Western European governments are already anti-male, anti-natalist, anti-self-defense, anti-nationalist, and anti-free speech. Most are smugly subverting the interests of their citizens by importing culturally hostile foreigners. The United States is the holdout. We theoretically have freedom of speech, and we still have firearms. Many Republican states pushed back against the totalitarian lockdowns, made up safety protocols, and vaccine mandates of 2020. Our alternative media broke stories that collapsed the narratives that governments worldwide were using to manipulate and control their populations. All of the men who I know around the world are watching very closely, and they know that it matters. Cultural shifts in the United States ripple outward. When I was in Athens last year, some readers told me that during 2020, some Greek leftists tried to start Black Lives Matter protests there, even though Greece has a totally different demographic makeup and a totally different history. If there is violence here, it will spread. If there is oppression here, that will spread too. Elon Musk and many others have suggested that this may be the last meaningful election in America, due to Democrat or deep state-encouraged immigration policies coupled with a willingness to fix elections and a media that is willing to cover it up. This seems likely. If Trump is not allowed to take office, Americans will be subjected for a generation to the same managed decline in quality of life, personal freedom, and opportunity that the rest of the Western world already knows well. And men worldwide will experience a certain melancholia. It's not about an election between two candidates. It's about the possibility of reversing negative trends that have been moving in one direction for decades. All the problems I've been writing about since I published The Way of Men 12 years ago. And the continued erosion of trust in the legal system. And the end of free speech as we know it. If Trump does not take office, there will be a sense in the collective consciousness of men worldwide that things are going to get worse, and we may not live to see them get better. Now, some men will still prosper. Some men always do. Many will look to Muslim and developing nations for opportunity. If Trump does not take office, many will protest, but civil war seems unlikely. Based on the response to 2020, American men seem unlikely to rise up, and even if they wanted to, what Washington would lead them? Trump is no warrior. Who would men trust? I don't know, maybe Jocko? If Trump takes office, there will be a brief window of optimism and the opportunity for a worldwide paradigm shift. If Trump does not take office, there will be a measurable worldwide testosterone dip, and men will experience hopelessness and despair. Many will say, why bother? Millions of men will give up on America permanently, and so will many investors. Ambitious men who want families will leave America behind, as their ancestors once left Europe and elsewhere. A doctor friend actually already moved his family to Dubai. On voting. Voting is a very small thing. When I was a bit younger and maybe a little bit more of an edgelord, I wrote an essay telling people to vote with their asses. It was bad advice. There is a type of guy who thrives on being a perpetual outsider and pessimist. He's the type of guy who wants to sit at home and mock all of the suckers. He basically hopes for the worst because if the worst happens, he can say he was right all along. Don't be that guy. Don't confuse wisdom with laziness. The thing about that position is that it will never require that guy to do anything. All he has to do is sit back, smirk, and say, I told you so. This guy belongs with the purists who can't support any system but the perfect one that exists only in their head and conveniently has no chance of victory. These guys will never be part of any solution. I know that there is corruption in the system. What I don't know is how much. I do believe that if the empire of nothing prevails, no election in America will ever matter again. They'll fix whatever they haven't fixed yet, and we will all essentially be living in California. Though, to add insult to injury, some of us will have much worse weather. All the bullshit, but no beaches. Between writing sections of this letter, I went to a Halloween open mat where I practiced jiu-jitsu. I didn't get a lot of rolls in, but we sat on the mats and we talked about everything that's been going on. And we laughed about it. And it was good. No matter what happens, you're going to have to find a way to laugh about it. In the past 7 days, a candidate for the President of the United States dropped a podcast in which he mused about whale psychology. He dressed up as a fry cook and a garbage man, and he took a photo op arm wrestling Hulk Hogan. This shit is funny. Life is funny. And if you can't find a way to laugh about it, it'll eat you alive. Stay solar.